Hello, hello. Welcome back to Muse. My name's Damaris, and as you can see with your eyes, I am sharing my very first video podcast episode. Woo! I'm so excited to create a video episode. I think today being my last episode of season 1 and doing a recap is the perfect way to start this whole video experience and to end my first season of this podcast. It's been 6 months since I've started. It's been a journey. It's been amazing. And I'm just so glad to be able to have shared this whole first season. There's been 25 episodes. What the heck? I mean, I don't know what normally counts for one season. Like, I don't know if that's supposed to be a year. Where I am right now is the perfect time to end one season and start another one. And I'm excited for what's coming up. Firstly, I hope you're having an amazing day. It started out pretty gloomy here in Vancouver, and as you can see, there's some really nice sunlight coming through, and it's just like lifting my spirits in me recording video as a podcast. So I hope you're having an amazing day too. I hope that this start of your week is chill and easygoing wherever you are. For this recap, there are 4 bigger themes that have come out of these 25 episodes that I've completed, that we've gone through. A lot has happened in 6 months. Being able to record this evolution of these episodes that I'm putting out is really fascinating, reflecting on and coming back to see the things that really stood out for me where I was 6 months ago when I started and my mentality at that point, but also reoccurring things that keep coming up that I think I will continually always share. They're just things that are a part of me that I want to keep talking about because they are important things to think about. So let's get into my themes of these last 6 months. The first theme that I found to be so impactful and showed up in quite a few episodes was this idea of purpose and alignment. These are foundational points of creation that I think many artists and creatives really identify with, really come to want to understand about themselves and their work and how they are aligned and how authentic they come across. I started the season by asking, why do I create? And then I came back to that concept when I got laid off of my job. And these big transitions in life cause us to reflect more on our purpose, on why we do the things we do, why we want to create. The big why is definitely a huge component in showing up, in doing the work, in finding alignment. But purpose isn't a fixed answer. You can't just find purpose and like snatch it and say, okay, now this is my thing, this is my purpose in life. You learn what your purpose is through taking action, through creating and failing and recalibrating what you've learned. And in order to do that, you have to take action. You actually have to take steps forward into the things that you want to be doing. Alignment is less about age or a milestone. It's more about listening to the younger you and future you at once, meaning taking the beautiful things that inspired you as a child and the things that are inspiring you now and using that in a way to create alignment, to feel like you're moving in a direction that is fulfilling, that is nurturing to both parts of you, the younger version and the version of you that is the one creating now. And presence and perspective really were pivotal tools that I used to keep me grounded. When I was feeling chaotic, where I was kind of spiraling, when there were all these shifts and transitions happening, they were what really brought me back to my alignment, to my purpose. Changing my perspective, staying in presence were key things that I used to keep me in alignment, in being able to find meaning in my work, in my life. The last point in this theme, I talked a lot about like slowness and staying grounded and feeling okay in the slowness of the season that you might be in. That slow seasons and times are points where we can check for alignment. They're not failures, they're just specific times in our lives where we can tune in a little bit deeper because we have the space and the time. So, this theme was very crucial to the growth of this podcast and my personal life. And you can hear through the episodes how that has evolved and how some things have come up multiple times. My second theme was trust and self image. I spoke a lot about trusting myself, trusting the process and the timing of things through my younger self, having self doubt, to learning what that looks like for me now, and trusting that even though at that time it was difficult, those experiences have led to me understanding more about myself and showing up in a way that is aligned with the person that I want to become. I think with the whole trusting myself and trust in general, the way that you can come to trust yourself and how it impacts your self image is through micro actions, micro decisions and promises that you make to yourself that you keep, which help you to determine and feel like you can trust yourself, you can trust your word, you can continue to challenge yourself and push forward in the things you want to be doing. Because creative work mirrors self image. The more I trust myself, the more I can show up authentically. And ultimately, that is the way that I want to be showing up. Is that the way that you want to be showing up? That's the question you have to be asking yourself. My third theme was creative spark and flow. Through these episodes, I spoke a lot about the spark of an idea, spark of concepts, and the flow of going through the work, through the process of creating something from scratch and what that looks like for you. But also how sparks don't always feel like this fire, this ignition. Sometimes they're smaller, little flickers of curiosity and intrigue into an interest or an idea or a concept where it's not so ignited, but something that is enjoyable to follow down that rabbit hole or that kind of interest point. The way that I used these kind of interests or little sparks even came from words that I like. I tend to like the sound of certain words or certain words together, the cadence of something that I find it clicks and I follow that and then create something out of it. A project comes out of it, like Bratty Book Club. I loved the word bratty and book together, or just like the flow of Bratty Book Club. Honestly, it came out of nowhere. It just really, I think I heard the word bratty and I was like, oh, I like that word. I do like using words together that have the same letter or almost a sound. So Bratty Book Club, really, and it ends on a B. So it's, I don't know, it just has a really nice ring to it. And I created my book club that I share on my Substack. And it was something out of the blue. It was kind of on a whim. I'm like, I really want to do this. And I've always wanted to create a book club. So then I did it. And I just followed this little inkling of me enjoying the sound of a word. And from that came this project, this book club that is not just fun for me to write and share, even though I don't have a ton of followers on the book club. It's really cool. It's keeping me accountable to reading, which is another interest of mine. So I'm trying to tie in these sparks and interests and points of joy for me together in a very organic way, which then ties in to creative flow and finding flow. And I want to talk about this more on another episode, but creative flow isn't always about consistency. It's also about rhythm, allowing interests and sparks to return in their own time. The flow and nature of how things move around and in your life, I think, is also an important component to flow in general and how we perceive what flow actually is. My last theme is on identity, storytelling, and expression. This is something that I've kind of been ending off this season of the podcast with. Identity and storytelling and self-expression are very huge for me right now. We really look for, not just as creatives, but as individuals, as human beings, to be identified in a certain way. We want to come across in a certain way, but also how the stories that we tell ourselves and the stories we hear from others really impact the identity and self-image that we have. And that impacts then the way we express ourselves in the world. So changing the story, changing our perspective about what our stories are will impact our identity, not just the people that we are and identify with, but the version of that identity that we want to become, which came from me reading a book for my Bratty Book Club and another book that I was listening to. One was a very practical book on storytelling and how to tell better stories. And then the other one was this beautiful, moving, lyrical, heartfelt, emotional book about stories and about like people's lives and the stories that we tell ourselves, the way we think about ourselves, the way others perceive us, and how that plays such a huge role in the way we identify in every facet of what that means for you. How together they equal belonging, which is the most beautiful thing and most innate aspect of us being humans. We want to belong, we want to connect, we want to be valued and be worth something to ourselves and to each other. It's in our nature, and these books really moved the way that I thought about these words and these concepts. That was how I ended the season. Muse really gave me a current to keep moving with. Having the ideas that I've always wanted to share about creating and personal growth has been a way for me to keep showing up, keep the current of my work, my experience in life, my reflection moving towards something. And that's so valuable to have something like that in your life, to have something that you can reflect on continually, that you can produce continually, even if it's just for yourself. I think is such a valuable thing if you can make something like that for yourself, because through that It creates proof that clarity comes through expression, not waiting. Season 2 starts next week, and it's also a new month. I'm just so excited for the freshness of something new, of starting new, that I have so many things in store for this podcast, for these episodes. And now that I'm doing video, I will be sharing in such a different way than just audio. That'll be a new experience for me as well as this new season comes. And I'm also hoping to tie in my episodes to other things in my big ecosystem that I'm building of my work, because I enjoy it. They're just different mediums, and I find that fun. So I'm bringing you along. I want to thank you so much for watching, for listening, for being here, and following me on my journey through creating this podcast. I hope that you've enjoyed these episodes. I can't wait for season 2. Please like and share if you've enjoyed season 1. If you have ideas or things that you want me to talk about or that you're interested in hearing about, let me know. I'm curious. I'm all ears. I hope that you have an amazing day, week, new month as we end September and are now into fall. Yeah, just good vibes all around. Take care. And as always, keep creating. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.